Your clothes tell a story, both in real life and on the screen. It is completely unique. Why are you in my outfit? Why are you in my chair? Who are you? My favorite anime is JoJo's. I bet you couldn't tell. I wish I spoke Japanese. I hide it pretty well. JoJo. I can give you so many reasons why JoJo's is my favorite anime and why I think it's personally one of the best animes that a lot of people probably already said and probably already explained, but that's not what we're gonna talk about today. Today, we're gonna talk about the fashion of JoJo's. I dare you to find an anime that looks anything like JoJo's. Berserk! Fist of the North Star! Okay, that was supposed to be rhetorical. You weren't supposed to respond. But, since we're comparing, I'm just gonna debunk this right now. Let's start off with Berserk, okay? God tier manga. I mean this with no disrespect to JoJo's or Berserk, but other than a few weird things happening and big buff men, JoJo's and Berserk are actually nothing alike. I'm tired of people saying this. Berserk is about Guts, our main character, who's fighting for his own reasons. I like to think it's for good. This nigga is just trying to fucking survive. If you read or you're looking into or you just started Berserk, you will know that this manga is actually a lot more dark and intense than JoJo's will ever be. You don't read Berserk because it's a cool looking manga. You read Berserk to feel something. This is the type of manga that will make you hurt. It will make you contemplate your life, and it gets you existential. And JoJo's is about a very gay, hot vampire man who hates an entire generation of people because he was obsessed with their great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, depending on what arc you're watching. Now, don't get me wrong, JoJo's has its sad moments, its sad parts. I too cried at the end of part 3. But, is it contemplate your life sad? Now, Fifth of the North Star. I've never directly seen Araki specifically mention this, but comparing the art and looking at the characters, it seems like it was one of his inspirations for JoJo's. So, part 1 to 3 look a lot like Fifth of the North Star. That being said, the other parts 4 onwards look nothing like it at all. Like the one similarness that they had, gone. And that's probably why JoJo's went from Hamon to Stans. Hey, that's just a theory, a weeb theory. But seriously, after part 4, they have no similarities at all. That is a reference from Fifth of the North Star. Like, there is a move like that. So, they're actually nothing alike. They just look similar in that first part. Now, who else has something to say? Because I can go on for hours about how these two are so different. Because they're not the same. They just look similar. Or there's just weird shit in it. I'm sick. Absolutely sick. There is another show like JoJo's. Hirohiko Araki has a distinct style that even brands like Gucci, we'll get there, have recognized and appreciated. Each character is glamorous, stunning, luxurious. And you may be wondering, how does he get to this spot in the first place? Araki is inspired by Greek statues and fashion magazines. I don't know if you can tell, but damn near every male character, especially in parts 1 to 3, built like a Greek goddess. And that was intentional. Intentional. He routinely flips through these magazines and these photos and books before he starts sketching things down. So that can explain his proportions on like why certain characters have certain physiques, and also the fashion, the clothes, and the poses each of these characters have. Araki has been super outspoken about how high fashion has greatly inspired his work and his poses and his characters like in general.
この丸い髪型はダビデ像っていうそのミケランジェロの彫刻があるんだけど有名なあの辺のこの辺のこのカールから取ってるっていうか、そういうデザインですよね。あとこの辺の羽とかもこうああいう全部イタリアンなんかイタリアのそういう彫刻とかモチーフから
美術館とか
もちろんそうですね。だからみんなキャラクター彫刻とかファッションなんかも全部そういう風なローマの感じにしたいっていうイタリアのなんかこうかっこいい人たちっていうかでも歴史とかなんかこうそういう悲しみも背負ってるような
As I said before, they started off real bulky, real big and buff. But as the parts continue, you start to realize that a lot of these men are now more lean, kind of taking after high fashion models instead of the Greek goddesses and gods. JoJo's fashion spoke to me personally because it has its own sense of self. Back in middle school, I struggled with that. You wouldn't be able to tell based on my fit right now, but I did. I was a major follower and my clothes, they showed it. Only graphic tees and skinny jeans. I never experimented and I never tried new things because I didn't want to look too different, you know? But in JoJo's, that was never the case. Every character has its own unique style with unique patterns, colors, anything you could think of. They have it. I bet if I put a bunch of cutouts on the screen and ask you who's who, you'd be able to tell me if you've watched JoJo's. They're very distinct. And as a young buck, I was very, very, very inspired by this. And I mean, come on, look at the characters, bro. Everyone is super fashionable. Even the background characters got drip. Compared to your average anime where the pro tag is wearing a t-shirt and jeans, compared to my boy 𝕤𝕠𝕟, bro, with his purple fit, bro, you're not gonna see nobody in that fit, bro. Look at Jolene, she's supposed to be in prison. Why is she looking so good? That don't make no sense. This fashion and look distinct to JoJo's helped take it from cringy anime category to the, you know, it's pretty cool anime category. Each design has unique motifs, specific to their character and unique to their character. For example, let's talk about the difference between Josuke and Jotaro. At the start of both of their arcs, they are students with student uniforms, but they look completely different from one another. And I'm not talking about how Jotaro looks bulky and shaped like a Greek god and an uppercase T. Jotaro was a delinquent, okay? And you could tell based on how he's wearing his outfit. He wore his coat unzipped damn near all the time. And his iconic hats, hair hats covers his eyes, making him look way more mysterious and brooding. And he also has small like anchor and sea related thing to symbolize his marine love. His love for the marine, no, not the Marines, his love for sea animals. Josuke, my personal favorite JoJo, he is very popular amongst his classmates and the people around him. And he also cares a lot about his appearance. His hair is insanely maintained. He has a pompadour and he does not let anyone touch his pompadour. His pompadour is always pomping. It's always pomping, not popping, pomping. And his uniform does seem to be tailored. Comparing his uniform to other characters, his is more like cinched to his waist. I don't know if he just got a tiny little waist compared to everyone else, but it looked tailored. Unlike his predecessor, he often keeps his coat like closed, except for his little decals that he has, like his heart and his peace sign. That also shows how he's generally just a peaceful character. Like Okay, well, peaceful isn't really the word. This and the memes effectively make the anime more mainstream. The more mainstream it is, the more eyes are on it. And then the more eyes, and then boom, Gucci. All right, let me get to the Gucci part. Fun fact, I feel like I always got a fun fact for you guys, but Araki's work has been in the Louvre. Yeah, where Mona Lisa is. Yeah, many of his artistic inspiration literally see themselves in his work and are captivated by how he takes their work and uses it as inspiration to make his own thing. Brands were very intrigued to see what he had going on, and they were captivated by his work. But one thing leads to another, and then in 2013, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure collaborated with Gucci. Yes, the Gucci. The one here in America, yeah, that Gucci. Creating a one-shot manga called Rowan Kishibe Goes to Gucci, and then the rest is history. This is just a reminder that fashion goes beyond any language and any set of rules. It transcends the language barrier and creates its own language. Not a lot of things do that. You don't need to understand what these characters are saying to know, hey, this dude looks real cool and I like how he moves, so I'm gonna watch it. This allowed a lot of non-anime fans to tap in, and they were tapped in. And some of them even tapped into fashion in general, becoming fashion heads, like me. Going into high school, I started to experiment a little bit with my appearance and how I looked. And people started to notice. This was the first time I was like genuinely complimented on my appearance. There was one time I did my hair in like a different way. First off, that whole took 5 hours to do, so yeah, I did something different with my hair and people were loving it. And I was like, wow, all this work that I did to look a certain way actually paid off in the end. And people are starting to appreciate my artistic take on my hair. But enough about my hair. It was surreal. It really was. I personally was so hyped, and I felt like I had like a connection with other people because they saw my hair and they saw the effort and they appreciated it. Fashion creates bonds with people. It's an art form. And that's kind of what happens to people who watch JoJo's. None of the characters are wearing things that you will ever see outside, and that's on period. Maybe in high fashion, which has been replicated before. You won't see the average Joe wearing it. That's what I should say. The creativity it takes to even think of these designs is absolutely astonishing, and that alone should be studied. Now, let's circle back to those motifs I was talking about earlier and really get into it. Every single outfit has its own unique motif. Like, y'all don't really understand how hard that is to create. There's not one character that has a repeating motif that I've personally seen that wasn't like plot driven or something. They're all meaningful and unique to their characters themselves. It's truly astonishing. A character's journey also correlates with their aesthetic change. And if they're reoccurring, their outfits will change based on how they are at the current moment. No one does it like my boy, bro. Let's look at Rowan, for example. Rowan is a manga artist. So he has the calligraphy pen tip on his clothing, on all of his outfits. Jolene has butterfly motifs. This one's a little more abstract, but basically it's to represent her freedom from her father and, you know, daddy issues. Also, it's kind of ironic because she's in jail too, so you know, I love that about it. And her literal change at the end of the arc, if you know, you know. That butterfly also means transformation. So if you're getting what I'm saying and you finish the arc, you know what I'm talking about. And Giorno, he's specifically associated with Ladybug. Now that one's a little different, but basically in Japan, ladybugs symbolize like gods and stuff. Golden Wind's powers, they're celestial. So obviously the ladybug goes, the giorno. While the outfits themselves are pretty campy, it kind of rocks with the weirdness of the show. It makes sense why they're like that. And it doesn't take away from the show either. It actually amplifies it. And despite how out there their outfits are, it doesn't take away from the meaningful messages and themes that the arcs display. A lot of JoJo's blurs realism and surrealism in like a beautiful kind of mess that makes sense. In an odd way, I also relate to this. In college, I've gone from the one end of the spectrum of being very basic with my outfits to now being completely creative with my outfits. I don't like looking like any other person. I like being unique. I like walking down the street and I like people being like, yo, who is that? I want people to remember me when I walk down. I mean, I'm wearing JoJo's makeup. To me, there aren't any rules. As long as I'm not naked, then there's no problem. I take pride in my personal expression and style, and I have no one else to thank but Hirohiko Araki for that. Thank you for creating my favorite anime, and thank you for helping me find my sense of self. Also for making a super hot vampire villain fine as hell. Fine as shit. Okay, JoJo's. Okay, JoJo's. Okay, JoJo, you got the highlights going on. Look at that. Okay, let me film my fucking video. Okay, ignore the lack of shoes, but the hat. Oh, behave. Sono chill.